Hey, this is Jesse Forrest from startcopywriting.com, and today I'm very fortunate to be sitting here with my good friend Carl Taylor. Carl, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So let me introduce Carl and then we'll get into the topic of today's video. So Carl Taylor is the author of Red Means Go, which is a fantastic book about productivity and motivation and being efficient and getting things done. And he's also the founder of Business Builders Academy, which is a company that trains people in all kinds of things. In fact, Carl, tell me about Business Builders Academy.
Sure, thanks Jesse. So Business Builders Academy basically it's an education company for entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs. And ultimately, I teach people how to be able to work smarter rather than harder. People put in too much effort, try and get clients, try and all this stuff. And this biggest strategy I teach is how to buy a business, how to build a business, and how to sell it. Because buying a business is so much easier than starting from scratch. Do
you know what? He's so right. Because I know so many entrepreneurs, and when you start your own business, we underestimate how hard it's going to be. We have no clients, we have no cash flow, we have no idea what we're doing. And you get into it and you're like so ambitious, but that quickly just turns into exhaustion, doesn't it?
You get on what I call the business treadmill. You seem to be running and you're moving forward, but then you realize you're not actually moving forward at all.
I know when I started copywriting business, I had no idea what I was doing. I had certainly no money and very few contacts. It was only through getting mentorship from other well-known and established copywriters I was actually able to grow and even figure out what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So I think Carl's idea of buying into businesses or buying businesses is a great strategy. And perhaps towards the end we can talk about how copywriters can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Carl's the guy to ask. So today's interview is all about referral relationships and also setting up strategic alliances. So that's something I did almost unknowingly in the beginning of my business to help me grow. And I wanted to get Carl in here because he's a good friend of mine and he just has a wealth of knowledge about doing this, which is referral relationships, strategic alliances with, I guess you'd say, complementary businesses that have or already serve your potential or ideal clients, and then they simply recommend you, endorse you, refer you new business. So let's dive into it. The first question I wanted to ask you, Carl, is just a defining question. So what is a strategic alliance?
There's been very different definitions. If you Googled it, you'd hear all sorts of things. The way I define a strategic alliance is ultimately it's about being able to leverage an existing resource. It's similar to like if you bought a business, you've got a whole bunch of foundations you could leverage. A strategic alliance is where you work strategically with another company or multiple companies to form an alliance to get results, so to get more clients or to provide better service to your existing clients. So it's about connecting with complementary businesses to be able to achieve a common goal.
Okay, fantastic. What's a referral relationship and how is that different to a strategic alliance?
Yeah, good question. So like a referral relationship, again, I would define that as it is a type of strategic alliance. And that would be, say, you and I connecting and going, when someone comes through my program, they've learned how to buy a business and now they've got to build their business and they're going, I need some help on marketing. And I would have a referral relationship where I'd say, well, you need a copywriter. You should talk to Jesse. And we may just have a standard thing that somehow you bring up the fact that people need to buy businesses. That, you know, we wouldn't necessarily be the best referral relationship, but we might have that relationship and you would then pass that referral on to me, and we've just kind of written down or agreed that we will actively refer business to each other. There may or may not be commissions involved, but it's basically where you've kind of agreed to have referrals. So copywriters, the kind of businesses you could look at doing that with would be, you know, who does someone go to before you? You know, before the copywriter, are they talking to a web designer? Are they talking to a marketing agency? If you're going for a specific type of copywriting, like if you're going for real estate copywriting, well, a strategic alliance or referral partnership you could set up would be someone that you work with, like an organization that works with real estate agents, or maybe it's the person who issues the real estate license. And they would have a referral partnership.
So what you're saying is I should be looking for not competing businesses. I'm not looking at necessarily other copywriters, although that can work. I'm looking for businesses that complement my service, that I somehow set up a relationship with them where they're referring me business, and in exchange I'm referring them business.
Yeah, look, I mean, it doesn't even have to necessarily be referring business either. Like, that is a great and the most simplistic form of a strategic alliance would be like more that referral where they just pass you on. What you want to do is figure out who you already who works with those people, and maybe, for example, as a copywriter, you could do a joint venture with someone who's got a marketing agency, and they might not actually refer you, but they might become your client. They win, they manage the client, they get the job, and you ultimately do the work. Okay, and that is still a strategic alliance.
So I'm almost like an employee, although I'm not. I'm like a contractor.
But what you've done is you've managed to negotiate maybe exclusive rights to work with them. Or it could be, that you're white labeling your service, but that still ultimately is a strategic alliance.
Right now, what I'd like to talk about is some of the potential companies, the types of businesses that as a copywriter we could look for to partner with. So identify with Carl what those could be. And then what I'd like to talk about is how you could actually approach those. So in a moment you'll know who you should be approaching and also how to approach them in a way that will allow you to set up that kind of relationship where they're going to send you clients and send you business. So some of the ones that I can think about that worked for me were recently a video production house. So Tyrone and Justin, some friends of ours, they have a business called VideoTube Services, and they have sent me business. So they do videos for websites. I'll go out and shoot them and edit them and all of that. Video production house. And they have referred me business. So some of their clients have said, oh, also on our website we need some copy. And they said, oh, well, Jesse's a great copywriter, here's his details. So that was very helpful for me. Also other copywriters. I know in the early days I've told this story a lot, but I started out by approaching a big name copywriter and asking if he would refer me business. And I was fortunate that he did. Now, a lot of people recently hearing that story from me have approached me quite a lot saying, hey, can I have business? I know that you use that strategy, wink, wink. And what I need to say is, I don't just give work to anybody. I need to know that you're going to be a good copywriter. I need to know you're going to be reliable. There's so much more than just being a copywriter that gets you work. But what are some of the complementary businesses do you think myself as a copywriter could set up a referral relationship with?
Yeah, so I mean, typically what I tell people to look at, because this is one of the rapid growth strategies that my students and myself would use if I was to buy a business and try and build it up. The strategic alliances work for any type of business. So what you would do is go, who is my ideal client? You've got to work out that. You need to know who that is. But then once you know your ideal clients, going, well, who else serves them? And first go, who do they go to before they come to me? So think of every single person that they talk to before they would come to you. So if they're already in business, they're talking to accountants. If they're getting business cards done, they're going to graphic designers. If they're going and they're getting a website done, they're going and talking to a web designer. Okay. They might be going to if they're trying to do their own websites. Maybe they're techie. Maybe the people you're targeting are techie, and so they're going and buying WordPress themes or Joomla themes or something like that. So could you go and do some sort of alliance with that? When someone buys a theme, they get a discount or a special offer on copywriting. Okay. So think about all the people that they come to beforehand. So if you're doing print copywriting, are they talking to a print house saying, hey, are they talking to someone who does mailings because they're initially inquiring? Like here in Australia, you might talk to Australia Post because they're making an initial inquiry with, I want to send out lots of mail. They haven't necessarily created the piece yet, but they're just looking and strategizing their marketing. So who are they coming to before you? Then go, who else are they dealing with while they're dealing with you? And that might be some of the people already in front of you. But then think about who else do they go to after you? So once they've done the copywriting, once they've got their website up, what else are they doing? Maybe they're talking to SEO people, to promote their existing. Maybe they're talking to someone to do social media. Maybe they're talking to someone about pay-per-click ads. Okay, and from there, and we're talking a lot of online here, but there's also offline if that's who you're targeting too. But where do they go after you? And they become potential referral partners that you can refer on to, but they'll still be able to create a loop, and you can ultimately kind of create this circle of referrals.
I think that is great. And Carl, thank you, has just recommended probably 10 businesses here that, as a copywriter, definitely are complementary businesses that we could certainly partner with in terms of getting referrals and sending referrals their way. It's not just a one-way street where you're just asking all these people for work and not doing anything in return. I know I refer business to web designers, to people like Tyrone, who we mentioned, for video production and even for social media, which I plan on doing in the future. But absolutely, there's some great contacts, and some of the things I had on my list are the same as Carl said, but I would say business consultants, PR agencies, definitely marketing agencies is a great one, a goldmine, who value and recognize copywriting as well. Even bloggers could be something potential as well, but that's a whole bunch of people you could actually partner with.
A big one as well to add that is to also think a little bit outside the square is what industry associations do these people belong to? Now, sometimes there can be rules about, they won't, if you're joining a group that has other copywriters in it, they're not necessarily going to choose to work with you. But if you can get in and you can create that relationship so that you become their preferred copywriter for different associations. So again, if you were going for real estate agents, that was your niche, you could go and build relationships with all these different real estate training companies or real estate institutes and things like that and become their preferred source of copywriting.
Definitely. Something else I want to talk about, obviously, is how do you approach those businesses and how do you talk to them about setting up a referral relationship? So one of the ideas I had and what's worked for me in the past was I attend a lot of seminars and I like networking at seminars. And I've kept my ears open for these types of businesses. So if I'm talking to someone over lunch and they said, I'm a web designer, I'll say, hey, I'm a copywriter. And I can then turn the conversation into, let's refer each other business. And that can be helpful. So keeping your ears open over social gatherings is a way to just be aware of who's around you and swapping cards and having some kind of conversation later. You can always say at parties, or if it's just a social gathering, I don't want to turn this into a business meeting, but have you got a card? Let's talk again on Monday. Could be a good strategy. But did you have any ideas of how to approach those business owners and what to say to them to set up that kind of relationship?
Definitely. There's one example I'll give you when I had my gift hamper business, specifically as a strategy that is called a host beneficiary, but we'll get to that in a second. What I wanted to mention is that, basically it's just like what you do in copywriting, okay? If you're going to approach someone for a strategic alliance, it's about creating and listening to their radio station of what's in it for me, WIIFM. So, you can't just go straight up to someone and say, hey, I think it's really good, you should refer business to me. Because they're just going to go away. They will. So you need to approach them and not even necessarily even mention strategic alliance. Something that I've used using like LinkedIn and things is I've contacted someone and said, hey, look, I see we've got some things in common. We seem to be helping. We have some ways we could complement each other. I'd love to just catch up and chat and see how I could maybe help send you more clients. So I don't say, hey, how you could give me clients. I actually tell them what I think I can do for them. Hey, I think that there might be a way that we could work together and I could give you more clients. Are you interested in catching up? And once you have done that, you catch up, whether it's on the phone, whether it's face-to-face. And what you want to do, this is something a mentor of mine told me, who's a real expert in strategic alliances. And she said, basically, your job is to, you've got 2 ears, 1 mouth, so use that. Talk less, listen more. Just ask the simple questions of what's going on in your business right now? What could you use the most help with? Because, see, sometimes people jump straight in when it comes to strategic alliances with an idea in your head of, I'm going to pay people commission. But some businesses, they're not interested in that. In some businesses, like I'm a licensed business broker, and it's actually illegal for me to take a commission from someone unless I have to give all full disclosures if I make a recommendation and there's a commission. So people in financial services, same kind of thing, accountants, they can't do that. So they prefer not to have any money. They're just wanting to make sure they look after their clients. So it's about understanding what is that they need in their business, and what it might not be anything related to money. It might not be anything related to your business as a copywriter. It might be the fact that you personally, or your parents, or a sibling, or something, is somebody that they would love to get in contact with. And you just purely helping them by connecting them with that person that you personally know, or you've got a personal brand, or there's something that you can add value to them, that can be all it takes. You help, and then they're going to say, well, what can I do for you? And that's when you should have a clear strategy of, well, what I'd like to do is X, Y, Z. Go in there saying, I'd like to help you. I think there's a way I can help you. Let's have a chat. Identify their pain points, just like you would in copywriting. Identify their pain, then figure out if you can actually help with that pain by connecting them with someone or something you personally can do through your business. And then, go, okay, cool. And this is what I'd like in return.
That is such a great strategy, and I think from my own experiences, that is totally how it works in the real world. Carl is just offering gold here. And the reason that is because people don't respond well when you say, hey, can you do this for me? Especially when they don't even know you. Like, come on, if that happened to you, I'm sure you'd feel the same. So I know in the past what I've done is when people have approached me, usually the first thing I want to say about approaching is do it over the phone or in person. Don't send an email. I get emails all the time from people saying, hey, do you need this? I've got this service. Do you want this? And I delete those emails.
Well, I think, again, it comes to that point of don't say what you can do. I have actually don't mean to contradict, but I actually have no problem with sending an email as long as what you're saying is, hey, I think there's a way we could help each other. Can we have a chat?
Can we have
Simple
a
as
chat?
that.
Yeah. And not saying, can you do
Don't
this for
pitch
me?
anything yet.
Yeah. And so what I've done in the past with certain people that I strategically wanted to refer me business was because I have a blog, I've asked if I could interview them. So I was at a seminar in America in Las Vegas. I brought a flip camera and I approached other copywriters who are much further up the food chain than me. And I introduced myself and I said, hey, it's great to finally meet you. I've followed your blog or whatever they're doing. I followed it for years, which was true. I would love to just do a quick 2-minute video interview with you on video and post on my blog. I think my readers would love to hear what you've got to say. And 9 out of 10 said yes. And then I interviewed them and then I said, hey, you know what, I'm going to upload this to my blog. In case you want to share it with your database, have you got a card or email? I'll let you know when I make it live. And they said, yeah, sure. So already I've done something for them. I've introduced them to my audience. And as a result, we can now talk about down the track setting up a relationship. But I didn't jump in and say, hey, can you send me business? It was often through doing interviews or people have come and offered to interview me and set up a relationship that way. And then down the track, I found myself referring them clients or business. So Carl is so right in the way that you've got to come at these people saying, I want to do something for you, or how can I help you? It's so much more effective than, hey, what can you do for me? Which turns people off.
Yeah, absolutely.